the previous videos, we mentioned about the analysis in terms of the CO and PO attainment. The analysis can be conducted at various levels with different purposes. At the student level, we would like to know whether the students attain the COs. This reflective to the individual performance of the students. At the course level, we would like to identify the attainment status of the COs by the entire group of students. This is for us to identify whether the COs have been well delivered and assessed. And then at the program levels, we look into the attainments of the POs. Which PO are attained and which POs are not attained. We also mentioned that this definition here may vary among universities due to various conditions. This may include the sensitivity of the assessment as well as the other factors such as the ability and the commitments of the management and also the cooperations of the lecturers. The main focus here is not how do we define the percentage. The main focus here is that we will have to find to a state that having the ability to discriminate between good and poor performance in the context of course outcome and the program outcome. Then we will focus the improvements towards the COs and the POs that is not attained. Now let us discuss on some examples how do you analyze the CO attainments as well as the PO attainment. First, let us look at the analysis for the CO attainment. Remember, in your teaching plan, you have identified the allocations of the marks for the coursework, and then in your table of specifications, you have also identified the questions with respect to different COs and how the marks allocations in accordance to the COs. And then after you have conducted the assessment, you collect the students' results, classify them in accordance to the respective COs. Same goes to the assignment. Now this is when you consolidate all the data. You will have a list of the students, group their marks in accordance to different COs. There will be marks from the coursework and also marks for the final exam. You will need at least 2 assessments for each COs. It can be progress tests, assignment, presentations, other evaluations, and also final examinations. Bare minimum 2 different assessments. Having all the marks being classified in accordance to the COs, then you will need to determine the attainments of the respective COs. The definitions of the attainment, it will be referring to the students' levels. In this case, we will need 40% out of the total marks of that particular CO. So, whichever marks allocated for the coursework and the final examinations for CO1, if the students manage to acquire at least 40% out of that particular CO's marks, the students is considered attaining that particular CO. Now, if the students do not fulfill the requirement, that particular CO is not attained. This helps us to identify the attainment status of the COs of the individual students. Now, in terms of the course, whether it is pass or fail, it will be depending on the total marks by the students, whether the total marks is greater than 40%. If the total marks here is greater than 40%, regardless the attainment status of the COs, we are able to determine whether the students pass or fail the course. It is possible for the students score extremely well for certain CO, but not able to attain certain other COs. The students can still pass the course. The factor determining whether the students pass or fail, it will be purely based on the marks. And it is also one of the requirements that the students must also pass the final examinations. If the students fail the final examinations, even though their coursework plus the result from the final examinations is more than 40%, since the students do not pass the final examinations, the student is still considered fail. And then based on the marks as obtained by the students, grades are to be given. Grade A to grade F. This grade shall be used for the computations of the CGPA, which serve as the gateway for the students to graduate to be released into the industry. Now the grade here and also the status pass or fail is not defined by the CO attainment. Coming back to the CO attainment analysis. Now that you have computed the results, you know that individually who attain which COs. There are also students not attaining certain COs. Your next step, it will be analyzing the CO attainment. Now we are entering the course level here. Based on the requirement here, we need 80% of the students undertaking that particular course to attain the respective COs. Out of the list of the students here, and based on the attainment status of the students, the CO attainment rate is computed. This represents the percentage of the students attaining the CO out of the entire class. Now, if this CO attainment rate is less than 80%, that means that particular CO is not attained by that particular course. When it is more than 80%, then we will know that this CO is attained by the course. Taking this CO1 and CO2 as an example, CO2 performed better than CO1. Now we have a relative comparison in terms of the good performance and the poor performer. From there, we can propose CQI in order to improve the delivery so that CO1 will be more effectively delivered in the future. Now that you know the attainment status of different COs, you will bring this result for the analysis of the PO attainment. You will have a series of courses here. Based on the mapping between the course outcome and the program outcome, you will group the results in accordance to the POs. Let's say now the course 1 here is attaining to PO1 and PO2. Course 2 here is related to PO1 and PO3, and course 3 is related to PO1, PO2 and PO3. Based on the result here, we will know the attainment status of the COs. Where do we get this? We get this from the attainment status of the course analysis. Now, having each course and their COs attaining to POs, you will need to determine the attainment rates for the POs based on the numbers of attained course divided with the total numbers of courses mapped to that particular PO. You will be able to determine the attainment rate. If the attainment rate is less than 80%, that means it is not attained, and if it is more than 80%, that means it is attained. So now, taking this as an example, PO1 is not attained, PO2 is attained, and PO3 is not attained. Based on the rate here, we will know that PO3 is more critical than PO1. Now, when it comes to the continual quality improvement, you can pay attention for those not being attained, especially those which is critical one, is something that you cannot ignore. This is related to the PO analysis. Now that you have conducted the analysis for all 3 levels, which include the students level, course level, and the program level. You have identified the attainment status of the course. Based on the non-attainment status here, you may also dig deeper into the results as given by the various assessments. Based on the table of specifications, you will know which questions students cannot perform, and based on the questions, you will know which topics the students cannot perform. You may also check different assessment methods. You are also able to identify which assessment method may be more challenging to the students. By identifying all this, you may review your teaching and learning activities and also review your assessment method. First, you may look into your assessment method, whether the assessment is valid, whether it is reliable, whether it is well designed with the intentions to gauge the levels of understanding of the students, whether it is properly done without any bias. It is only when you realize that the assessment is properly done, the non-attainment, it will be mainly due to the teaching and learning activities. Then you can look into the teaching and learning activities. Which topics is relatively challenging to the student? Probably you need to adjust a bit in terms of the student learning time. You may also look into the teaching and learning activities. Probably the respective teaching and learning activities is not effective or not suitable in the delivery of that particular COs. You may consider to adjust and use another delivery methods to see the attainment status of that particular COs in the following semesters. There are many aspects that you can consider. Not only that, there could be flaws and mistakes in the course outline as well as the specifications as identified in the course outline. If that is the case, you may propose to revise it in the next curriculum review. Not only the teaching and learning activities, you might want to look into the student learning time as given to the students. For example, the assignment and also the capstone project. Whether the time allocated to the students is sufficient for them to accomplish their work, and whether the instructions given to the students are clear, whether you have provided sufficient supervisions to the students to facilitate their learnings. From the result analysis here, it is not just numbers of attainments and non-attainment. This result analysis should allow you to dig deeper into what is actually happening within the students. It helps you to identify if there is any flaws throughout the entire pipeline. It gives you an idea how you can review your program and the course. Same goes to the program attainment analysis. When it comes to the program levels, it covers broader scopes. There are attainments and non-attainment. Now those attainment and non-attainment, you may take this as a guide for you to look into the improvements. First, you will have to check your assessment, whether the assessment is valid or not. To determine the validity of the programs, you might need some mechanism for verifications. We have discussed about this in the early of this module. The analysis that we did is actually coming from this route. You have students' result, you have attainments of the course outcome, and then you will determine the attainment status of the PO. You know that the correlations between CO and the PO, it will be pure assumption. This needs to be verified. Therefore, we need some mechanism to verify the results. It is only when the results are verified in line with the findings from the student's result, then the following analysis and improvement will be meaningful and impactful. If you find misalignment, then probably you have to look into the model here and make some adjustment to fine-tune it. Let's say now it is verified, the result is reliable and accurate. Then you look into the non-attainments of the programs and then try to identify what are the major sources of non-attainment. Sometimes the POs are interdependent, especially when you design a curriculum. There are fundamental courses and there are advanced courses. Sometimes because of the non-attainments of the advanced courses, then you will have problem with the PO tree, for example. And in this case, if you observe that the fundamental courses have been scoring quite well, but suddenly this doesn't reflect into the performance of the students at the advanced courses, probably there is a gap between the fundamental courses and the advanced courses. This may lead to you reviewing your curriculum. There are also POs related to the skills. Let's say now if you realize that certain POs related to the skill, such as teamwork or the communications, are not quite well attained by the students, probably you can regulate at the program level, impose certain policy and regulations in order to facilitate the equipment of the respective skills. When it comes to identifying the problems of the POs, there are broader aspects. It can be due to the basics or fundamentals of the students coming from different backgrounds. It may also due to the implementations of the lecturers, competency of the lecturers, and so on and so forth. Once you identify the root cause, you may propose for the improvements. And then the evaluation should not only stop at the PO attainment level. You have to bring this forward to the program objective level, which is PEO. Based on the attainments of the POs, you will be able to identify whether the PO is likely to be attained. Again, this relationship, it will be assumption. You will need some mechanism to verify it. And if this is verified in line, then you may look into any weaknesses and the strength of that particular program and propose for improvements at the program objective levels. Now, if you find the result is not in line, probably you have to review the model here as a part of the continuous improvements. What you see here, the analysis is done at various levels. For those who do not have direct measurements, you will require some mechanism to verify that. And then there should be analysis in terms of the strength and weaknesses at various levels. Whichever identified to be weaker, there should be improvements at various levels. With the improvements, make sure you put it into implementations in the futures, and then the loop restart again. By repeating the loops here, over the times, the program become better and better, and you have elevated the programs over several cycles of the loops, so that it's more optimized, effective, and meets the demands of the industry. This is about the result analysis for the evaluation purposes.